Hello and welcome to this preview reading of my new screenplay, Undercover Maiden, by Ruby Rose, and we'll start here. Opening, scene one, pans in to a academy city. This is Vale. Everything's nice and cheery. You zoom into you zoom into an apartment room. Inside the apartment is a man who doesn't have furniture. So he's sitting on his bed with like a desk like humbled next to his bed, talking into a microphone, about to record a RWBY podcast because this is the new episode of the Two Fine Looking Brothers Talk RWBY. How's it going, guys? How have you been? I'm here with my good friend 123 ZC1. 123 I like P.
Yeah, that's me. I like P, and also I like RWBY, which are about equivalent.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about the episode before this newest episode, yeah, definitely equivalent.
Well, actually, I don't. I mean, I really love P, so I don't know if I'd put
oh, yeah, that's true. So you gotta say, for you,
quite the level of P.
For you, the newest episode is P, then.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
And
okay.
And the previous episode is water.
yeah. Fuck that. Anyway, I think we should start off, because we did not do a cast on the last episode. Nothing happened, so we had no motivation, and also it was like just never really like worked out for all of us to be able. It was like, family was in town, things like that, so it never really worked out for us
all
to be able to get together.
Stuff,
yeah. So yeah, we're just throwing it in the beginning of here. The episode. So we're gonna say chapter 4, right? That was chapter 4. Yeah. So chapter 4 was, for the most part, garbage. I feel like we're on a pattern where we're doing one great episode, one shit episode, one great episode, one shit episode. Because episode 4 was ridiculous after we found out that Ozpin is a selfless hero who has done nothing wrong, nothing but good, had no reason to lie, and is like an absolute, like, pure, like, one of the best people around. His entire crew gets really mad at him, yells at him, slaps him, and leaves him to dry. Like,
I kind of just don't want to talk about. I really just don't want to talk about that episode. It's just there's nothing worth mentioning. Just nothing about it made sense.
Okay. For Game of Thrones fans, I'm gonna do a little comparison. It's like in season 7 when after the whole thing Beyond the Wall, Daenerys comes into Jon's cabin and sees all the scars on his chest, realizing that he was killed by his own men and resurrected, and then decides to slap him and run out of the room instead of saying like, "You're the best person ever."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this episode was. I feel like this episode might be in a little bit of an odd state where.
Which one? Chapter 4 or 5?
5.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think we sort of think that the dialogue is strained because of whatever is under the city.
Yes.
And it's like affecting them, and they're like. Mm-hmm. Right? They're like, it's slowly eating away at them, whatever killed the rest of the people there. Yeah. But what if it's not? What if that's not it? What if
we're in like a strange...
what if it turns out that it's not doing that, and it's just like, they just wrote that? Like, that's just how it was written.
Okay, so they're doing like a strange thing, and I think if it works out, it'll really pay off. Like, if they do it where it's like this, like, whatever entity is living under the thing is, like, manipulating their heads and making them talk weird, it would be fine. Okay, and let's say it isn't the case. I thought the Yang and Blake scene could have been, like, that's excusable. Like, it wasn't terrible. Like, you could just...
I didn't write it down, but the dialogue was like, hey, you,
It made sense because it was like they're awkward with each other, so it was kind of like, okay, this is excusing. But if that Weiss scene doesn't turn out to be leading to them being like manipulated by some entity, then it would be the Atonement.
What I think like I really do think Miles and Carrie like they saw Call of War and they just brought on Ben O'Brien and they're like, hey, can you just write this episode for us? We want all of the dialogue to be incredibly strained and nothing to make sense.
So this episode was so much like Call of War, which, if you don't know, is like the recent Wham City live show that they did for like around Halloween.
We should make like a Call of War RWBY like
video, like AMV.
Yeah, like an AMV, but like a little like
a dialogue AMV.
Yeah. I think you're picturing the exact same thing where it's like,
yeah,
General, I found beans.
So this whole episode, like this whole atmosphere and like the whole situation they're in, where they're in like old-timey, like kind of western town, not western,
they bunker
like
up
colonial town. They bunker up in the house and something's going on in the town because everyone is dead and they have to figure out what it is. And I'm like watching it, I'm like, this feels very familiar. Like I feel like I watched something recently that was this like same setup, but I couldn't quite place it. And then she goes into the thing and she's like, I found beans and I lost it. I lost it.
Oh my god.
I was like, but yeah, like, what are the fucking odds? So now next episode, they're gonna have the priest come out of that cellar, and oh no.
And then Ruby's name is gonna be changed to the Ruby.
The Ruby. and then
the after credit scene is gonna be changed to 45 minutes of her reading Undercover Maiden.
Yes, and what was I gonna? Well, I was just gonna make a great bit. Fuck. Why did I forget? Oh. The episode will start. No one will be around. All of a sudden, you'll hear do 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 do, and then like the ghost of Summer Rose will come out and be like, "Call in now," and like talk over the people that are calling and eat like giant sandwiches.
This will be so much better than whatever episode they have planned next.
Anyway, I haven't looked at my notes that I made specifically for this podcast yet, so it might be a good idea for me to do that. Okay.
What if they bring back Pyrrha, but she's Ghost Lady?
Yes, I don't know why I said Summer of Pyrrha would be even better. Oh my god. So we still haven't addressed the big ice cream flavored elephant in the room.
Oh yeah.
Your favorite thing ever is back in the show, as I called before the intro was even came out. I said Nia will be in this volume, and
you said that every volume.
Yeah. Here she is. What did you think?
It was pretty good. I'm glad that she's back. Not so glad that she was so easily convinced. Glad that she didn't talk. And I would like to recut the fight to be better, because I think it's almost really good. It's almost really good. It's just good right now. There's too much shot, look at object, and then do something. It right, like, how many times in that fight would they close up on character's face, reverse, look at object, and then do the thing, and hold on that
you know what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of reading a one-on-one battle in a book. Because when you're reading a one-on-one battle in a book, like, let's say you're inside the character's head, it's like there will be moments where the characters, they'll still be in the middle of the fight, but you're reading them stopping, thinking about something, looking at something, and then using that.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of felt like it's seamless in the reality of the story, but like the way it's written, because it's a book format, you have to like know each little step. So it almost felt like that, where they're like, they almost wrote the battle out like it was a scene in like a novel, and then like just animated it like that.
Probably works for books, but is very jarring when you're actually watch something and it cuts 3 times to get an effect that you can do without cutting, right?
Yeah,
you could do that. You could, right? You can show like an over the shoulder and have it like pan and then do the action that you wanted. Like the fucking ashtray thing it was jarringly weird.
What was that again?
Where she looks at the ashtray. It's like shows her face, reverse look at the ashtray, and then does the thing where she like kicks in and launches it. You could do that without cutting. I feel like you should try and minimize cutting during fights.
Yeah, I think like the fight wasn't bad. It was good. It just wasn't like incredible.
I want to try and make it better.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that, like, unless something else happens this volume that I'm not expecting, that whole like spider organization is literally useless. There was no reason they had to write that. They could have just had them run into each other on the streets, and it would have had no difference in the plot.
I don't really understand the like.
Yeah, like why they introduced these characters.
Did they do they have names? Or are they just like?
Yes. The woman's named Little Miss Malachite. So maybe she's related to the Malachite sisters, and they're hinting at that, but I don't know.
Wait, she has to be then, right?
I mean, it could just be that they forgot they created the Malachite sisters.
I swear to fucking God.
No. This episode was good. I'm sorry. This episode was good.
What?
I'm like apologizing. I'm like, this episode was good. I'm sorry.
That isn't even this episode.
Well, they introduced it, but yeah, that's her name. So I think it has to be maybe the 2 sisters are part of this organization or something. I don't know. But, so maybe we'll see this one. I don't know.
They might be.
Could be real. But other than that, like, if they don't do something with that, there's no reason for these characters to exist. And they could have just, like, as of now, we don't know everything, obviously, but as of now, they could have just run into each other on the street, and it would have no difference in the plot.
I feel like the show used to be, like, everything was important, and now it's like stuff's kind of just thrown in there at random.
Like, okay, here's a good example of introducing throwaway characters. The beginning of volume 2, they go to the bookstore, and it's a throwaway character that you don't care about that, but it contextualizes the narrative. Like, it's like, okay, this is what's going on for most people that are working in this, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like this is showing you the consequences of the things that are going on.
Of the crime organization.
Yes. And then it's also like another example is Junior. Like, he fits so perfectly into, like, he feels so natural. You know what I mean? It's like they're going to look for information, so it's the same person she interrogated beforehand, who also happens to be working with Torchic. And, yeah, it's like, it felt so natural. And those are, like, who you consider throwaway characters. But they're not. They're, like, good. And now, it's like, whenever they create a character like this, it always feels so unnatural and forced. Like, Vernal, last volume, like, why did they not introduce Vernal in, like, the beginning of volume 4? And then you got to know her, and then when she died, it would actually have an impact. You know what I mean? Like, if they introduced her in the beginning of volume 4, I think it would have been a lot more effective when she died.
Yeah, I think a lot of things could be more effective with like good writing, and without it, they're just not.
You know what? This episode was good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the rest of it was good.
I felt the little bit that they did when she's like, when she's talking to Neo and like, let's talk about this, and then Neo like points it out. That felt like a very Volume 1, Volume 2 bit.
Yeah, that
I
was
liked
good.
it a lot.
That was good.
Neo looks kind of gross in the new engine, but she doesn't look that bad. She doesn't look as gross as like RWBY.
Is there anyone that looks good anymore? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's more like there's people that don't look that bad, and then there's people that look gross.
Like, it's just
like I'd say like Blake and Weiss don't look that bad, while Yang and RWBY look disgusting. If that makes sense.
This art style just still looks so terrible. How have they not figured this out yet?
Like I think they're gonna change their art style again before the show's over. Like I can't see them sticking with this all the way through. I feel like this is almost like, it feels like the middle like stage of the progression of their art style. It's like, okay, let's try to fix this, and they're like, oh wait, we kind of didn't do great, but maybe we can like really step it up for like the final couple of volumes. I feel like they could do that, because like the original art style, it's rough, but it's unique and charming, and when you see that art style, you think RWBY.
It's really, I think the initial art style is really odd, Volume 1, but then like towards Volume 3, it gets really good, right?
Yeah,
and
I think the thing that made me really appreciate early RWBY art style is when they released I never played it, but when they released the game Grim Eclipse, and it just looked like you're playing the show, and I'm like, that's the art style. That's what they're going for. It's a video game.
Yeah, it's a video game.
And I think they just kind of like, they're like, let's make it look more anime, but they misunderstand why like certain animes look good. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And also that like 3D anime looks fucking awful. Like always. Like there's pretty much no good 3D animes. Like, and if they are good, the reason that they're good is because the story is good, and the story is good enough to ignore the visuals.
Yeah, like it's weird because like when you're first watching early RWBY, it's like, yeah, like it kind of the anime, like the art style kind of sucks, but it's the story, writing, and characters are good enough to make up for it. And then once you fall in love with the story, writing, and characters, then it's like, okay, now the art style like appeals to you now because you're used to it. And now it's like, it's not good, but it's unique, and it's RWBY. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what it is. And now it's like,
what I used to say was like, it starts off weird, but then it gets better, and as it gets better, it helps you get used to it. But now I think it like progressively gets better, and then it like drops off, and it gets way worse, and it's just never go. and there's no sight in which it will get better. So
I mean, they could just change the art style again.
Do they have any plans to?
I mean, you never know. We didn't know they were changing the art style between 3 and 4 until 4 came out, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it was the Neo's back, baby. They played a song, which could be a Neo song, which would be pretty cool if Neo got her own song on the next album. I like that a lot. Now we come full circle back to Call of War. And they still have, I mean, now it's too late for them to change outfits because they're in they kind of fucked up at this point. Like, they realized, oh shit, we never changed their outfits for the climate. But it's too late now, so I guess they're just going to be really cold. Hello?
I am... yeah, I don't really have
like Blake, like, huddled up, covering her bare midriff. I'm like, end my life.
Right, yeah, there's snow on the ground, but as soon as it like starts snowing, they're like, "Oh, now I'm cold."
No, I think the issue, like I said, is that they should have changed their outfits in the train station going to Argus because they knew they were going into because like what's the city called? Is the city Mistral, or is that's the kingdom, right? Oh my
Where
god.
were they
No,
headed to?
they were heading to Argus and they knew Argus was a cold climate.
Yeah.
So why didn't they change in the train station or in the hotel before they went to the train
Yeah, I don't
station?
know.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure with that. I feel like now it's at the point where it's like, oh shit, we forgot to change their clothes, so let's just make them really cold and not give a solution, because now they can't just have new clothes out of thin air unless they steal the dead people's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah.
So,
Um,
what's gonna happen this volume? Anything? Are we
um,
halfway through and they've and like nothing has happened?
I feel like this volume's gonna be yeah, they're not. There's no way they're getting to Atlas this volume.
We're 5 episodes in, and so far how much of a distance have they covered? They got to the train station. They got on the train. The train crashed. They walked.
I feel like but I
now
feel
they've
like
stopped.
I feel like it's not all about literally travel. You know what I mean? Like it's like literal geographical distance. I feel like it's like you could have a lot of progress in a bed in a room if you do it right.
Sure, but also how
Like
much
think about it.
has
We know
happened?
everything. We know everything about the lore now, and we did not know that before this volume.
That's true.
And that's a huge progression that changes the scope of the entire show. Like it's so yeah, honestly, I kind of like what they're doing with this volume because I feel like what they're gonna try kind of do is tell a with this house. I feel like it's gonna be like a contained horror story within RWBY, which is really interesting because it kind of gives it makes it like a RWBY isn't being rushed to finish anymore. You know what I mean? Before this volume, I'm like, they're gonna rush to finish this show. But with this, what they're building up to here, it's almost like they're doing the opposite. They're trying to make it go longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously we're gonna see if this is connected to main plot, but my theory, it's just some weird fucked up Grimm that does Lovecraft shit,
Yeah.
right? It's not gonna be connected to the main narrative, so to say, until the old woman obviously reads a book that drops deep mad lore, which of course is gonna happen. But
Oh wait, the part where she's like, "Sit down, let me tell you a story," and he's like, "Ugh."
yeah, yeah.
That was
What
I
fuck
made
do
the
you think's gonna
same
happen
noise right beforehand.
there? Yeah, but other than that, I kind of like that they're doing this weird offshoot thing. I don't know. I kind of like that they're making it longer and doing more with the world. I didn't like how they rushed through Mistral.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
they could have spent
awful.
they could have spent so much more time there. And I think now they're kind of realized that they fucked that up, and they're kind of like, let's spend more time in the new places we go to. And I think that's okay. I think it's good.
Yeah, if that is actually what's happening, that would be great.
Yeah, I feel like this episode's a lot of this was really good if it goes in the direction I think it's gonna go, but if it doesn't, it was really bad.
It's what?
Did I cut out?
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was saying is that if this episode is really good if it goes in the direction I think it's going to go, but if it doesn't, it was a really bad episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree.
And then okay, here's a way they could connect it back to the main plot that it's something I actually observed, and I kind of wanted Alberto and John to see if they noticed this. I could just ask them; doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked you about this. Do you think that this is Pyrrha's family?
I think it would be incredibly dumb if it is, but
Because I looked at the picture, and my first gut instinct was, this is Pyrrha's family. But then that was like initial reaction, like my first like primal instinct when seeing the photo. But then I'm like, wait a minute, that would be really dumb if I mean, yeah, because then there's like that big emotional scene that's like destined to happen, that it's never going to happen. But it could be, but it might not be, because I think they had red hair, and the little girl could be Pyrrha, like, could be. I mean, it may just be complete coincidence that they look kind of similar.
I mean, would there be a reason why they like zoomed in on that picture if it wasn't?
I think it's a 50-50. I think there's a good chance I'm overthinking it and it's not actually Pyrrha, but then there's a good chance that this is Pyrrha's family and this is why they're stopping here, and that's why it's the main plot. But I mean, it technically still is the kingdom of Mistral, right? So technically it still could be where Pyrrha lived.
I don't know. I gotta go back and watch like volumes 1 and 2 and see what she has to say about like her home life.
Didn't we get to that in our unnamed series that hasn't yet come out? And didn't we say that it was confirmed that she was from Mistral?
No, yeah, but I think she said some stuff about her family.
Her family. Yeah, I don't remember which is in our family.
I think it's in volume 2.
But yeah, like I thought this new like kind of cool setup. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I thought it was if it goes the direction I think it will, and the priest comes out of the cellar and he begs them for beans, and then he goes back to his church and he possesses soldier
Durkin.
Soldier Oscar. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I was trying to have 2 syllables. Yeah, soldier.
Glintz-terry.
And then and then
who's
Glintz-terry in this situation?
Beautiful faunus, but so dumb. Just the dumbest faunus I've ever met.
Yes. But yeah, one random thing I noticed that I wrote down that I liked and has no bearings on anything. I like that RWBY was using her phone flashlight. I feel like that was good.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then Weiss is like, no, I'm going to use Harry Potter spells. And then, like, they lit the room. But yeah, if they are being manipulated by the weird tunnel grim from the OP, oh yeah, we should probably talk about that. You were like, what do you think's under the cellar? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the grim in the underground tunnels that they showed in the opening.
I didn't. Why did they do that? I didn't see that.
Why did
I didn't see it? I didn't see it.
No,
I didn't see it.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm like, why did they show that in the opening?
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to it. Cause like Crow's walking, and he gets like, I'm gonna open up the OP now.
Oh, and then
and then they're like in the tunnels fighting like these like tentacles, right?
Oh, well, that's really blatant. I remember that now.
Yeah, so this is whatever this grim is. It's what's under the house. Remember when we thought that the grim getting progressively fucked up the farther they got into the continent was like an actual story thing? But no, it's just they want to make cool fucked up grim.
I think it's just power creep, right? It's just as they get stronger, the things that they encounter.
It's like they can't just fight Beowulfs anymore. Like they gotta fight like weird, like fucked up grim.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if they met like the really powerful ones right as they started. Right now they could take down Nevermores in like one fucking hit.
Yeah. Like I remember how big of a deal the Nevermore was in early Volume 1, and now it's like Nevermore is like fodder.
Yeah. So, but does Salem like send them after them? Does she have control over them? Do we know?
Well,
because they were there before her.
We don't know if she has control over them.
Exactly.
Well, do Grimm listen to other Grimm?
What do you mean?
Like
can they communicate?
Is there like seniority? I feel like
yeah. Wait.
I feel like Grimm is a hive mind, right?
Okay, because in volume 2,
like
when
the
they're
elephant
in
Grimm,
yeah,
right?
when they're in Mount Glen, they like, I feel like they motion to each other and they're like keep walking, and they do.
So then it makes sense because Salem is a Grimm technically, because she bathed in the pool, and so she's technically a human type Grimm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so I understand if she's able to communicate and like control the other Grimm. I mean, I don't think these weird fucked up ones are after them specifically because they were there before.
Do you think it's
everything?
Do you think they're ever gonna explain, or do you think it's just like power creep?
I don't know, because like the Nukkalavi was there when Ren in the same area, the same region when Ren was a little baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was there, and then this one, it seems like it was living under this weird tunnel thing for a while. Unless, okay, do you care about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood spoilers?
Not really.
Okay, so the tunnels, you don't realize what they're for at first, but they eventually like play a huge role in the plot, and you realize that this whole interconnected tunnel system is actually like connected to like everything. And so maybe they're pulling off something like that, where it's like, okay, this is a weird Grim underground Grim in a tunnel, but then you find out it's like this huge network that actually goes back to Salem or something like that.
Which is why like Mount Glen failed when they started digging tunnels.
Yeah, we're giving them so much more credit than they're probably actually going to do, but it would be really intricate and cool if they were like setting up this whole underground network of fucked up Grim.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool, except we're on a different continent.
I mean, tunnels can go far.
Underwater.
And right, how long have Grim had to like do things?
Oh yeah, they've been around since Grim have been around
forever.
Since they weren't wiped out in the great ethnic cleansing of the gods.
Yeah, exactly. So
they've been around forever.
This is possible.
Yeah, this could be real.
Could be real.
Anyone know if real?
Did they ever talk about tunnels in other places?
I mean, other than Mount Glen, which is like a big hint, do they? I don't know. I mean, there's obviously like the...
don't they say like literally the Grim broke into their chambers that they dug out?
What do you mean, like in Mount Glen?
Yeah.
They're kind of like, they built this underground city and then just got like swarmed with Grim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they like hit too deep and like Grim just kind of came, like they hit like the Grim tunnel system accidentally. That could be it. They tried to expand and like they hit that. It could be.
You think like the weak baby ones are like the ones that are usually on the surface, and then like the really like strong ones like come up every so often.
It could be, because think about it. The Dragon Grim was encased in a rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the Nukkalavi lived in a cave. So it's like maybe like,
and also the Scorpion lived in a cave.
So maybe like the upper echelon of Grim live underground, and then like the closer you get to the surface are like the fodder. That would be an interesting concept. And there's like this almost like grim.
I'm gonna go rewatch Mount Glen after this.
You know what it could be?
What?
You know what it could be? It could be like an underground river system of the Black Ooze.
Ooh, yeah.
And then it's like they're popping up underground.
And that's why they're everywhere.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, wow, major theories. I didn't think we were gonna get in this cast. Now we have to force Alberto and Jen to listen to it, so they're on our wavelength.
Hey, this would be really cool if it happens.
Yeah. If hey, this isn't going to happen, but if it does, that would be sick. It would be, if I was writing RWBY, I'd put this in.
Mm-hmm. I just came up with it. Real cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you could put it in now, even if you like Miles and Carrie. If you're watching this, you could put this in now, and even if you hadn't thought of it before, and it would still make sense.
Yeah. Hey, Miles, I know you're watching this. I know you're listening.
You could pull it.
Just put it in right now. No one has to know.
You could pull this. Yeah, you could pull this off like you planned it since episode 1. You don't have to say anything. Everyone
you don't even have to credit us.
Yeah,
we do free art.
What'd you say?
We do free art. This is a free idea.
You don't have to credit us. All you have to do is get me an interview at Rooster Teeth.
All you need to do is give me the 12 digits on the front of your card, 3 digits on the back, and the expiration date.
Okay, so
also check out our AMV and our and my recut of the fight that'll be coming out after this podcast, when the episode, and probably in a week when the episode is out for the public.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, bye.
Roll credits.
I'm weird.
Okay, so now we're in the post-credits scene. So I'm gonna read my script for Undercover Maiden. Okay, so we open up on the Mistral cityscape. We're panning around, and we cut into a hotel room. We see a bunch of huntresses and a little boy and Crow sitting on a couch talking. This goes on for about 25 minutes. And then we decide that they need to infiltrate. When they need to infiltrate that shop that bans the faunus in the last one that they went to, in the last one they went to for 2 minutes. They need to infiltrate that. So, and they sell. What do they sell? Noodles? I don't even remember. So he looks Ruby dead in the eye and says, "Hey Ruby, do you like noodles?" And then, but no, Ruby can't do it because she has no one can watch Y. She has no one to watch Y for her. She just got Y, and she has no one to watch him, so she can't do it. So she says, "I'm sorry, I can't go on this mission." And then Crow is like, "We can just put him at the the pet hotel, Hotel for Dogs." That was a movie. What was it? Was it Emma Roberts and a weird kid? That was a movie. So then she's like, "Okay, I'll do it," and she goes to the fast food restaurant, and then they're like, "Weiss, you have to infiltrate the headmaster school. You have to go in there straight. There's no reason for the side fast food side plot, but you have to go in for the to the headmaster school, and you have to get it in bed with the headmaster, Leo Lionheart." And so she goes up to Leo Lionheart, and she goes in there, and she's like, "Oh, I'm here to be a co-headmaster with you." And he looks straight into the camera, and it zooms in on his face, and he goes, "I hate Mondays."